Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Happy Birthday Addy, Chapter 3, Bitter Medicine. During the next week, Addy stopped by Madeir's room each day when she came from school. Good afternoon, Madeir would call to her before she even reached Madeir's door. Addy usually did her lessons in Madeir's room, and sometimes Madeir had a treat of Ben candy for her when she finished. Addy savored the crispy, sugary wafers filled with sesame seeds while she listened to stories Madeir told her. Madeir told Addy that her father had been a soldier in the Revolutionary War and that she'd been a chore girl working on Society Hill. Thomas Jefferson had visited a house where she worked. Addy loved the stories Madeir told and was happy that Madeir was her friend. Addy still spent Saturdays by herself because Papa and Mama had to work. This Saturday was going to be different. Mama had told Addy on Thursday, "I know you enjoy Madeir's company, but she's an old woman. She needs her rest. Why don't you ask Sarah to come over on Saturday morning?" "Do you really mean it, Mama?" Addy asked. Mama had never let Sarah come over to play before. "Me and Papa think you should play together more than you do." Papa was sitting on the floor piecing together the ice cream he had found. "Maybe Sarah can help pick a day for your birthday," he said. "Remember, when you pick it, Addy, I'm going to make you ice cream. You better hurry. I'm just about to get this old freezer fixed." When Saturday came, Addy couldn't wait for Sarah to arrive. The night before, Mama had saved sweet cornbread for Addy and Sarah to share. Mama said they could have that and some milk for a treat. Addy spread an old blanket on the floor. She placed 2 small plates, spoons, cups, and the cornbread on it. Then Addy eagerly waited to watch out the window for Sarah. Then she saw Sarah coming up the street. Addy thundered down the stairs to meet her. Sarah was carrying a bag, and she had a smile on her face. "What you got in the sack?" Addy asked Sarah. "It's a surprise," Sarah said, as Addy led her inside and upstairs. When they got up to the room, Sarah looked at the spread on the floor. "This is real nice, Addy. It's like having a picnic inside." "I thought you'd like it," Addy said as she poured the milk into their cups. "You're gonna guess what Mama and Papa said. You can help me pick a special day for my birthday." "I think you should pick it by yourself," said Sarah. "I guess you're right," Addy responded, taking a sip of milk. "I just can't think of the day I want. Don't none seem right." After they had finished, Sarah kept her sack in front of Addy and said, "Keep your eyes closed and reach in for the surprise." "Oh, Sarah," Addy cried as she pulled out a coil of rope. "I thought we could practice some double dutch," said Sarah. "My Mama have so many clotheslines from her washing that my Papa cut me some extra piece for us to jump with." The girls rushed outside where Sarah wound the middle of the rope around a lamppost. She held the 2 ends together there and began twirling. Addy felt a little dizzy as she watched the 2 loops of rope across one another. Again and again she tried to jump in, but Addy's feet always got tangled in the rope as soon as she did. Sarah continued to encourage her. "That was a good try, Addy." Addy was feeling discouraged when she heard Madeir say, "Addy, take your time. Watch the ropes, but listen too." Addy looked up to see Madeir sitting out the window. Addy introduced Sarah to Madeir, who asked Sarah to start the ropes again. "Now listen to the ropes," Madeir coached Addy. "They're singing out a rhythm. Hear it, Addy. Tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap. Jump to the rhythm. You can do it." Addy had never listened to the ropes before. She had only watched them. Now she rocked back and forth before the twirling ropes, listening, getting her body set to their rhythm. Then she jumped in. She jumped 4 times before she missed. She had never done so well. "You're getting it," Sarah said. "That was much better." Addy was encouraged. "Did you see me, Madeir?" "I saw," Madeir said. "I saw." Addy started swirling the ropes again. Addy's hands were sweating with anticipation. "I can do it, I can do it," she repeated to herself. Addy watched the ropes and listened. Tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap. When she was ready, she leaped between the loops. She was jumping 8 times in a row. 10, 12. She was losing count. A big smile burst onto Addy's face. Addy shrieked with delight. Then the ropes twisted around Addy's feet. Sarah rushed to Addie and gave her a big hug. I knew you could do it, Addie. You were great. I can't believe it, Addie said happily. I finally got it. She turned to the window, but my dear was gone. Addie jumped rope for a while longer, then Sarah had her turn. When they got tired, they went inside to Madeir's room. Madeir's door was open, but she was not sitting in her usual place by the window. Instead, she was lying down with a wet cloth on her forehead. Sonny was silent. Madeir, you all right? Addie asked softly. I was just resting, answered Madeir. I have a terrible headache, and I've run out of medicine. Well, I'll go to the druggist and get you some more, Addie offered. It's only a few blocks from here. Sarah will go with me. If you're sure it wouldn't be any trouble, Madeir said. We'll be glad to go, Addie assured, taking the blue bottle from the table next to Madeir's bed. We'll be back real quick. Madeir gave Addie 50 cents. Get yourselves a treat while you're out getting my medicine, Madeir said, and bring back the change. Addie and Sarah went straight to the drugstore, but the clerk said he was out of the medicine Madeir needed. The girls left the shop. Now what are we going to do? Asked Sarah in a worried tone. I know there's another drugstore on Pebble Avenue. Addie said, I saw it when I was on the ice wagon with Papa the other day. But Pebble Avenue is miles from here, said Sarah. We gotta take a streetcar, said Addie. We'll be there in no time. I don't think that's such a good idea, Sarah said. You know we can't ride most streetcars. But we've got to get Madeir's medicine, Addie insisted. I know what streetcars colored people can ride. Sarah thought for a moment. But they dangerous, she protested. Not if we stick together, Addie said. Come on. Addie and Sarah walked 1 block to the avenue. They walked only a few minutes before a streetcar came, pulled by 2 horses. Like the other black riders, Addie and Sarah had to ride on the outside platform. Only whites could ride inside and sit in seats. As the horses took off, Addie and Sarah held tightly on the railing. From the first day, Addie had arrived in Philadelphia. She had wanted to ride a streetcar. Now here she was. The horses built up speed, and Addie felt a warm breeze sweeping past her. The city whizzed by. The row houses, the markets, the churches. They were a blur kissed by the green of budding trees. As the streetcar slowed, the city came back into focus. When the streetcar stopped for more passengers, the white people paid their fares first. They moved inside where there were plenty of seats. The black people came aboard, had to squeeze their way onto the outside platform, which was getting crowded. Addie looked at Sarah, who was worried. We almost there, Addie assured her. The car pulled away so slowly, and the man next to Addie lost his balance and stepped on her foot. The people on the platform were crowded so tightly together now that Addie couldn't feel the breeze as the streetcar gained speed. Addie was relieved when they arrived at their stop and could get off. The drugstore was just a block away from the street stop. The girls took off from a hurry, anxious to get medicine and return to Madeir. When they reached the store, they found a long line of people waiting at the counter. Addie and Sarah waited to get at the end of the line. We'll be on our way in a few minutes, Addie said Sarah. The girls inched their way forward to the line. 10 minutes passed before they could go to the counter. Before Addie could open her mouth to the medicine, a man approached the counter. The clerk ignored Addie and waited on him. We was next, Sarah whispered to Addie. I know, Addie said softly. Maybe he used to wait on the grown folks first. He probably ain't see us. He gotta wait on us next. When the clerk finished with the man, Addie started to say, we'd like to get... Before she could finish her sentence, the clerk waited on a white girl who had just walked in the door. You can't say he didn't see us that time, Sarah said. Addie knew Sarah was right. They watched it in surprise as the clerk waited on the girl, who was no older than they were. He talked to her nicely as he filled her order. After the girl handed him her money, the clerk gave her the change, counting it out in her hand. Finally, the clerk came over to Addie. What do you want? He asked in a stern voice that startled her. Addie handed him the medicine bottle and asked for another just like it. Do you have money? He asked. Addie thought that was a strange question. Why would I be here if I ain't got money? she thought. She tried to hand the clerk her money. Put it on the counter, he demanded. Addie glanced at Sarah, who was looking at the floor. As Addie placed the money on the counter, she felt her face getting hot. She was angry and hurt. This was how her master had talked to her on the plantation. After Addie put the money on the counter, the clerk took it and got the medicine. Then, instead of handing Addie her change, he slapped it on the counter. Some of it rolled onto the floor. Sarah scrambled to get it. Without saying a word, Addie picked up the medicine and the girls left the shop. Addie and Sarah started down the avenue, walking in hand to wait for a streetcar to take them back across town. That man treated us so bad, Addie said. Because we colored, Sarah added. Some white folks think they're better than us. That's not right, protested Addie, hurt and confused. No, it ain't. But things ain't always right. When they got to the streetcar stop, a large crowd was waiting impatiently. The first streetcar had come along was packed. It didn't even stop, and some of the people waiting on the corner began to grumble. We gotta get the next one, Addie said anxiously. But you're waiting for her medicine. It was 20 minutes before another car came. It stopped, then Addie and Sarah and the rest of the black passengers got on, crowding the platform. As the street pulled out, they were packed so closely that Addie didn't have to hold on to the railing. She held tightly to the bottle of medicine. At the next stop, the conductor yelled out, "White passengers only!" A man made his way through the crowd and got on. He pushed through the black passengers on the platform and sat down in one of the empty seats inside. That's not fair, a black man in overalls called out. We've been waiting for this car for over an hour. A woman standing near the man said, There's plenty of room if you let us right inside. I don't make the rules, the conductor replied. You'll have to wait for the next car. We won't wait, the black man in overalls yelled. He and some of the other people who had been waiting pushed their way to the car. The conductor's voice boomed. Get off this car! Get off! Addie felt her heart beating fast. She looked for Sarah, but Sarah had been pushed past her. As Addie turned, she saw the conductor pushing through the passengers toward the people who had just gotten on the streetcar. Some of them jumped off, but the man in the overalls didn't. He had held onto the railing. When the conductor reached him, he grabbed the man by the straps of his overalls and pulled him until the man lost his grip and fell to the street. Then the conductor turned to the black people on the platform. Now, all of you colored people, out! He bellowed. His face was red in fury. Every last one of you! We already paid our fare, one woman protested. I don't care, he screamed. I'll call the police if every last one of you doesn't get off right now. Addie felt pushing from all sides. A sharp elbow hit her shoulder. Someone trampled over her feet. Addie was caught up in the crowd, and before she knew it, she was swept right off the platform. She fell to the ground, ripping a hole in her stocking and scraping her knee. She watched the great car pull away from the shop with no one on the platform and plenty of seats inside. Sarah rushed up to her. Addie, are you all right? I guess so, Addie said. At least I didn't drop Madeir's medicine. I don't want to get back on no streetcar, said Sarah. Don't worry about that. There ain't no money for the fare anyway. We used up everything Madeir gave us on the 2 rides we already took. How far is it from home? Sarah asked. It's a long way from here, Addie said. A long way. And that's the end of that chapter. I will see you later.